That's right, nothing could be easier.
It's just a jump to the left.
But in 911 tech, we've been jumping left and right for decades,
With your hands on your hip.
and usually ending up in circles. So grab your headset, bring your sense of nostalgic irony, because today... And that's coming up on Tips Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a NENA certified ENP, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I try to bring you the latest, most informative, and occasionally absurd information from the world of emergency communications. Today's episode is called Let's Do the Time Warp Again, and yes, we have done this once before. In 75, then again in 1998, and maybe again in 2014. And of course, well, you get the idea. Because every time 911 tech promises to change everything, somehow everything once again sort of stays the same. Picture it. It's 1968. The first 911 call goes through in Haleyville, Alabama. Public safety rejoices. Finally, a single universal number and a miracle of simplicity. Fast forward a few decades and we're adding enhanced 911 for better location. Then we've got wireless 911. Better location. Next, we introduce mobility and VoIP 911. Better location. And finally, we've got next generation 911. That promises to provide, guess what? Yep, we're still bolting on new features onto a legacy framework that's like Dr. Frankenfurter sewing together his next big creation. We swear this one's going to be different. This one's next generation. And then we find ourselves debugging 1970s logic wrapped in 2020's code. Now we're talking about AI. You know, today's buzzword darling. Every vendor is promising it. Every podcaster is talking about it, myself included. It's all about AI-powered dispatch. But didn't we say the same thing back in the 90s when we talked about expert systems? Remember those? They were going to replace decision-making as well. But they weren't able to figure out what to do with the caller saying, "My house is kind of, sort of on fire." If it sounds familiar, that's because we've been here before. And we'll probably be here again. Because while the tools change, the problems don't. We keep thinking that technology is the main character, but the real hero has always been the human behind the console. Every time we forget that, the movie restarts. Breaking the loop. You know, maybe deja vu isn't really a glitch. Breaking the loop. You know, maybe deja vu isn't really a glitch. Breaking the loop. You know, maybe deja vu isn't really a glitch. It's just a reminder that progress without reflection just loops back on itself. Maybe it's time to stop reanimating the old monster on the table and start building something truly new. Something born from lessons, not leftovers. Maybe the new concept is that history doesn't have to repeat itself. Not if we learn the choreography instead of tripping over the same set of steps. So maybe the next time you hear someone say, "It's a revolutionary 911 platform," you just smile and tilt your headset and quietly hum to yourself, That wraps up today's episode of Tips Today in Public Safety. I hope that gave you something to think about while we move the industry forward. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, remember to follow me on social media at Fletch911, and you can visit 911tips.com for a full archive of previous episodes. My blogs are at Fletch.tv, and my professional site is Fletch911.com. Stay safe. Thanks so much for what you do every single day. And remember, if it feels like you've been here before, you probably have. I'll catch you next time.